So now we'll talk about your roles in some more detail. Remember that we have two major goals in this research process. First, we need to protect the rights of the youth participants in the study. And second, we want to be sure that we're collecting quality data. The research team here at University of Michigan has developed specific procedures that will allow us to carry out the project in a way that both protects our youth participants and produces quality data. It's important that you have a strong understanding of these procedures. So I'll pause at the end of each slide, and I want to encourage you to stop and ask me about anything that's not clear. So we'll start with how to recruit participants for the study. So first of all, you'll need to identify youth who may be eligible to participate in this study. We're asking you to identify 15 to 25 possible participants for each group. So 15 to 25 for the Badges for Baseball group and 15 to 25 for the comparison group. Data collection is tough, and we know that there will be some drop-off over the course of the study. You probably won't get consent from every parent or child that you identify as a potential participant. And among those who do consent, there will likely be some who do not complete all 3 surveys. So that's why we're aiming for a range, and a high range of 15 to 25 participants for each group. So for the Badges for Baseball group, you'll need to identify 15 to 25 youth who are between the ages of 9 and 14 and will be participating in Badges for Baseball for the first time. You should follow your organization's regular procedures for recruiting youth to the program, although it might be necessary to enroll a slightly larger group than you might typically. In order to uphold the third Belmont principle, justice, and engage in fair participant selection, it's important that you identify and invite all participants who are eligible for the study, meaning that they're between the ages of 9 and 14 and are participating in Badges for Baseball for the first time. So we don't want you to pick students, young people who you think will perform well on surveys or something like that. Anybody who is eligible, you should invite to participate. For the comparison group, you will need to first identify a program at your organization that's similar to Badges for Baseball. The comparison program will also serve youth in that age range and meet around the same time. So we'd like for you to also recruit 15 to 25 youth from that program to be eligible, again, between the ages of 9 and 14, and they should not have participated in Badges for Baseball before. Again, follow your organization's regular recruitment procedures for that program and possibly increase the group size to include enough eligible participants for the study. And then include anyone who is eligible in the list of potential study participants. You may have kids in your whole Badges for Baseball program or in the comparison program who have done Badges for Baseball in the past. And that's why we're not asking you to recruit every single program participant for the study. Just recruit a minimum of 15 participants for each group who have not gone through Badges for Baseball before. So once you have identified your potential participants, you'll need to contact their parents or guardians. You may contact parents by phone, email, letter, or speak with them in person. And we've provided scripts for you in the staff manual, and they're also available on the Ripken Foundation portal. Basically, you're going to tell them a little bit about the study, invite their child to participate, and ask them if they are interested in learning more. If the parent is interested in learning more, then you'll provide them with a parental consent form. The consent form describes the project in more detail, including the risks and benefits associated, the incentives for participation, and makes it clear that participation is voluntary. In order to respect parents' autonomy and uphold the Belmont principle of respect for persons, it's important that they provide informed consent, which means that they understand what they are agreeing to and that they agree without being pressured to make a particular decision. You should offer to read the form aloud to the parent while they read along, or they may read alone. Be careful not to pressure the parent into getting their child involved in the study. Do not emphasize the incentives or try to convince them in any way. If they have questions about the form or about the study, you should direct them to the contact information on the last page of the parental consent form. Allison Krusky and Tom Reichel are members of the research team who can respond to questions, or there's contact information for the University of Michigan IRB if they want to speak to somebody who's not directly involved with the study. If the parent wants their child to participate in the study after reading the consent form, they should sign the parental consent form. The last page provides space for them to provide contact information for 3 people. Contact information is encouraged so that we can contact them for the follow-up surveys and for payment. They're not required to fill this out, but you should encourage them to do so. So if they do want their child to participate in the study, the parent will sign one parental consent form, and then you will give them another copy of the consent form to keep for their own reference. You should then put the signed consent forms in the signed parental consent envelopes. So those are envelopes A and B that you just found in your box. They're labeled. So envelope A will contain all the signed parental consent forms for the Badges for Baseball group, and envelope B will contain the signed parental consent forms for the comparison group. You'll mail this envelope back to the University of Michigan along with the completed surveys, and we'll talk more about the process for administering surveys and mailing materials in a minute.